Lance versus Rick, 27.1.
Okay, so I'd like to get this out of the way. I said something that wasn't true last. I said something that wasn't true. I said something that wasn't true last week, and I just want to correct myself because truth is all that matters. Rick said that we get some of our uranium from Russia, and I said no, and I went into a thing where we get uranium from decommissioned Ukrainian nuclear missiles, which is true, but we also get 14% of our uranium from Russia for our peaceful purposes. Now, the reason that's significant is because right now we're in the middle of the Clinton bribery scandal, and the reason the United States gets 14% of its uranium from Russia is because Russia has 3 times more uranium than the U.S. The U.S. is a very big country that has a lot of natural resources.
But not that much uranium.
So, in a way, actually the country with the most uranium is Australia. Then after that, Kazakhstan.
And then Canada.
And then Russia. Or Russia in front of Canada, depending on who you check. However, unfortunately for poor Rick and the Democrats, it only helps my argument. Because number one, we need all the uranium we can get. We have no business giving any of it to Russia, let alone 20% of our uranium. Now, it's true that we don't use 20%. We get percentages from around the world. But what we have, 20% of it we gave to Russia to control. And
anyway, we'll get into it. But also, can I say one thing real quick? One thing real quick. We fuck up stuff all the time.
No, I never do. I've made a couple of mistakes and I correct them the week later. Now,
but we're talking when we do these things I'm just in general terms. We talk for an hour at a time at each other, and the people that go on like MSNBC and stuff. It's their job. Obviously, it's not our job to know their stuff, and they only talk for like 90 seconds at a time. They're part of a panel of like 8 people.
Right, and so they've studied the whole issue.
Yeah. And we're amateurs, and we're gonna mess stuff up.
Well, okay. The point I was gonna make though is that we didn't mess this part up because we had this debate about 3 months ago, and that was when I mentioned that Bill Clinton went to Kazakhstan with the head of uranium Uranium 1, I think. Was it not Uranium 1?
No, it wasn't even that. It was when the company was forming.
Right.
2005. Bill Clinton wasn't in office, so he went as a private citizen.
Didn't matter. His wife was very powerful. She was in the Senate, and then she became Secretary of State. And it wasn't in 2005. I don't think it was when she could do some good
when he went to Kazakhstan with the dude. I just read before I came down. I tried to do some homework, and that part of it was 2005.
Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is that now it's even making the Democrats look worse because of 3 things. Number one, it's true that we get some of our uranium, 14% from Russia, but that's because they've got so much more than we do. But number two, Bill Clinton went to the country that had the second most uranium, Kazakhstan, and helped to arrange a deal with the head of this company. And then the Clinton Foundation mysteriously wound up with $130 million.
$145 million.
Thank you. Okay. So
we can talk about the $145 million now or later. Let me throw in a thing.
All right.
From a guy, most of the 145 came from one guy who left the company, divested himself from the company in 2007, before Obama was president, before Hillary was Secretary of State.
But she was a senator.
Yeah, but
And he was able to use the president's cachet. And by the way, I read articles about that guy too. We discussed his name 3 months ago when we first came up. And the truth is, we don't have any proof that he divested himself.
well, I mean
We only
that's a
have his
reason.
word. He's just saying that he did. But the truth is, he may have been very much involved. We just have his opinion on it. When he's called up and questioned by the Senate, it may turn out he's lying.
Well, we should put all this in context. Why this stuff has popped up?
Well, no, wait a minute. I want to discuss the context for a minute.
Okay.
It just so happens that Clinton arranged a deal with 9 other federal agencies. You kept saying this over and over again. And the deal gave 20% of the United States' uranium to Russia. And then
20% of the uranium capacity, actually, according to 2015 statistics or 2014, it's only 11% of U.S. production.
Right, but it's 20% of what we've got, which is even worse.
Well, we get 92% of the uranium we use from the rest of the world.
That's right, because we're hoarding our own.
Well, we're not really hoarding because according to what I read, uranium is, well, it's a really great resource because the U.S. can can cover 20% of its energy needs, energy production, with 25,000 tons of uranium a year, compared to 600,000 tons of stuff like, natural gas and petroleum.
Did you say 25,000 tons a year?
Yes.
Okay, we only have 167,000 tons, period.
Do you mean if we dug up all the uranium we'd have?
We'd be done.
Yeah, except that we're friends with.
So that means we're only about 5 years away from losing all of it.
Well, that
Wait,
would
25 into 160, you do the
be
math.
6.5.
All right, so we're 6.5 years away
Except
from
that
losing it all.
Canada has a buttload
I know,
up in Athabasca.
I know, but the company that bought the Canadian
No.
was Russia.
No,
Russia
Russia doesn't own. There went the mic. So we should break.
All right.
Actually, you can still go.
Well, no, let's fucking fix the mic and then come back.